This is a really interesting problem type, and you need to be aware of it. It doesn't come up a lot, but when it does, it's always hard for students who've never seen it to come up with it on their own. That's why you don't have to do that. I'm going to tell you how to do it. It's population density. And so it says the population of Circle City is a function of the distance from the center of the city. The density x miles from the center is e to the x squared people per square mile. What is the population of the entire city? So this is people per square mile. Would you agree that's a derivative, right? People per mile, right? If I integrate that, I would get how many people are in a certain mile, right? Everyone agree with that? So, I want to find out the population of the entire city, not in just one of the miles. So, any ideas on how we could do that? It's a tough question.
The red is, what is that?
I made it up. I drew it.
So we're trying to find the full black.
The whole black circle. The population inside the whole black circle.
Let's do the area. Yeah.
Okay. We agree that I need something to do with the circle along with the population density. Because the circle would be the miles, right? And I heard area, but we are going to be integrating, adding up tiny little things. So that's why I've drawn the little red circle.
Would R be the integral of e to x squared?
Part of it. That'll be part of it, definitely. Would you agree that I could find the population around this little circle and then add it up as those circles go out to the whole city? The population just around this little circle would be that circumference in miles times the population density. You agree with that? What is circumference? How do you find circumference? 2 pi r. So population density is the circumference of the area that you're finding, area out from the center, times the population density. Now, why did they do 2 pi x? What did x stand for?
Or the density.
The x miles from the center. And so Grant was right when he said r. X is r. It's the x miles from the center. So that's the radius of the circle. So anytime you have to set up population density, this is how you do it. You do the population density function times the circumference times the d variable. Now, if they had used r instead of x, you do dr. It's whatever they use. It's not a big deal on what the variable is. Why from 0 to 4? It said x, which remember x was the distance from the center of the city, was 0 to 4. So we're looking at a city that has a 4-mile radius. Interesting question. It's one that the first time you see it is really difficult to set up, but after you see it after that, it's not too terrible. It doesn't come up that often, but if it does, that's how you do it. That's population density. Okay, one more problem and we will be done for the day. This is written on your AP Packet 6B. A tank contains 125 gallons of heating oil at time t equals 0. During the time 0 to 12 hours, heating oil is pumped into the tank at h of t gallons per hour, and it's removed at r of t gallons per hour. Did y'all find it? Yes, it is. Any questions so far? Okay, part A. How many gallons of heating oil are pumped into the tank during 0 to 12? Do I need both of these functions for into the tank?
No.
I just need the top one, because this is the one that's being pumped into the tank. So how many gallons are pumped into the tank during the interval 0 to 12? How do I do that? Again, most of these questions, as you can imagine, are calculator questions. All you have to do is show the setup and then type that in your calculator. That's how many gallons are pumped into the tank from 0 to 12.
This is the one where we have to add the starting.
Not on this one because it just says how many are pumped into. Now if it said, if it said how many gallons are in the tank, then you'd need to add that 125 in, but then you'd also need to take into account removal. So it would kind of up the game on the difficulty level of the problem. I'm sure they asked that question momentarily. I have no doubt. I don't remember. It's been a while since I read this one, but I would guess that question is coming. All right, let's see the answer. I was going to try to cheat and find you the answer, but it may take me longer to find it than it takes you to type it in. 70.571. Part B. If it doesn't pay to cheat, I could have just worked it faster. Is the level of heating oil in the tank rising or falling at time 6? Give a reason for your answer. What do I need to know?
The amount going in minus the amount going out from 0 to 6.
Does it have to be the slope of it or the rate of change of it?
Rate of change, right? The amount of water in the tank, I need to know if that derivative is positive or negative. Does everyone agree? What is the derivative of the amount of water in the tank? H of t minus r of t. Because remember, those are already derivatives. So I need a prime of 6. Which is approximately negative 2.924 gallons per hour. You would get away with this one not writing the units, but we'll just always be careful about that. What does that mean? It's less than 0. Therefore, water in the tank is falling. Is that enough of a justification? Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Number 5, I was doing it last night, and it has kind of like the same thing on B.
Uh-huh.
And it asks if the mosquitoes are increasing at an increasing rate or increasing at an decreasing rate.
So that will be 2 questions. That'll be first and second derivative questions.
So you have to find the first
Derivative, which it says, is it increasing at an increasing rate or increasing at a decreasing rate?
Yeah,
so you already know, you already know the first one. So that's really a second derivative question.
Okay, so you have to take the second derivative and
Right. And it probably gives you the first derivative, so you have to take a first derivative. And is it at a certain point?
yeah.
So you could even do that derivative in your calculator. And okay, how many gallons of heating oil are in the tank at t equals 12? So I told you this question was coming. We knew it was coming. How do I do it? How do I find the amount? Okay, I heard this first of all. Why? I start with that, and then I'm going to do the integral from 0 to 12 of h of t minus the integral from 0 to 12 of r of t. You could put those in the same integral. It doesn't matter. Just a mental note. Would you do any work by hand on that? No. Write approximately what your calculator gives you, which is 122.026-ish.
There's going to be more space to write in home action.
Oh yeah. If you want
little boxes on the test because we're so used to.
If you want to write those answers on a separate sheet of paper, you are welcome to. And the last one, absolute minimum, right? How many gallons is a minimum, right? From time 0 to time 12. What do I need?
The derivative.
I need the derivative equal to 0, which is h of t minus r of t, and I'm going to set that equal to 0. I am not going to do that by hand. I'm going to use my calculator. I, again, am cheating just for time. 4.790 and 11.318 is what the AP rubric says. The AP rubric eliminates this one as a relative max. Is it asking for min? So yeah. So that one's a maximum, so they don't check it. It's okay if you did check it, but it's nice to eliminate that so you don't have as much work. So I'm going to find A of 0, A of 4.790, and A of 12. Luckily, I already know this one.
That one had a lot on the homework where you had already found.
Yes. And if you found this incorrectly but used it, remember AP will give you, I don't know why I put approximately, that's exactly 125. So I knew those two already, so this is really, I only need to find one other one. Uh-oh, I messed up. My bad. They eliminated the other one. Sorry. Sorry. I can't even cheat good. Y'all do know how they would do that, right? Make sure when you use your calculator to find this value that you find it using the stored calculator value for the 11.318, not just 11.318. And so I'm looking for the absolute minimum, and that would be the 120. So, and what did the question ask? At what time? And so the time is 11.318. Is the time when the oil it said show the analysis. It didn't say justify. I'd say we're good on our analysis. If it did say justify, the only thing I'd add is buy a candidate's test. And if you did that, we'd call that good. Any questions about that one?